We're already a week into stage 3, but it's time to look forward to that second week where we'll really start to get a good idea of how all these teams are working out in their groups. Enable and Pacman, do you guys think, just real quick before we take a look at some of the fixtures for next week, do you think maybe we could see some upsets perhaps?
I mean, I feel like there's always a possibility of some huge upsets in the CDL. Katie, I think that the teams are so talented, top to bottom. Even the bad teams have a lot of talent on them. If I'm going down to someone like the Surge, I could see them beating teams at this. But I mean, it is what it is.
Not the Surge.
I know. I said Surge, and I was like, maybe not the Surge, but of course, Katie, I do believe in some upsets.
Well, who knows? Maybe Ian, we could start off with an upset, because if you take a look at the schedule, it's London and New York. This is the very first series, so who knows?
That ain't it.
No, pick a different one. Pick a different one. No.
Okay, well.
That's body bag.
All right, let's take a look at this. Okay, hear me out. Day 2, Gorillas in Toronto.
Nah.
I could see it.
Okay, maybe that could be the upset we're looking for.
I think the biggest thing is we haven't seen LAG yet. We give them a lot of hate, well-deserved hate, because they're normally ass, but they dominated Paris. You know, we got to see them against
Paris,
a good team.
Paris, dog. Toronto is the best team in the game right now.
Before we get too into the weeds of shitting on Gorillas, let's take a look quick at day 3 and day 4. Guys, teams like Dallas, we'll see again how Fellow plays Seattle and New York going up later, and then on Sunday. Minnesota and Toronto, the battle for the North. We will see them go head-to-head and close it out with OpTic and Thieves as the final match, which is probably the one I'm most looking forward to. But let's get into it before we get to Thieves and OpTic. Guys, right off the rip as we head into this, do you think any of these teams should be considering changes, perhaps, from what we've seen so far, major and going into the first week?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think hands down, any team that isn't currently in the top 8 standings should make a change if they actually want to try and move into the top 8. And I think there's also some teams that are in the top 8 that maybe haven't been performing too hot as of late. It's tough, Katie, because there's so much talent in the league, right? And when you see a team like Empire, who the masses have basically all concluded that they're a top 3 team, and they are making a roster change, even though if I think it's the absolute worst roster change ever, but they're trying to improve. Every other team that isn't as good as Empire needs to try to do the same. It doesn't matter what it is. Clearly, what you're doing right now isn't working, and it's like, what is that? It's that quote. You do the same thing over. It's insanity. I don't know off the top of my head, but you know what I'm saying.
No, same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Exactly. They got to switch it up. I expect every team, especially if you're not in the top 8 right now, to make another roster change. If they already made one, make another one. If they haven't, make one. Like, you're literally just bottom of the barrel at this point.
I mean, me and Ian are of like mind in this. I'm a big change it over and over and over and over and over again.
It's got to hit at least once, right?
Yeah, like you just, all right.
You hope.
We played that hand. That hand was garbage. Let's play a different hand. Let's not keep playing the same hand over and over. It's not going to work. It's the toughest moves for me would be like a team like Paris. They just made one. Give it a little time, see how it develops. If it doesn't work, make another one. Seattle, they're one of the only teams that hasn't made a move in this game. I believe it's just them in Atlanta, but they had way different results than Atlanta. So as tough as it is, even though we were saying earlier that they shouldn't, it's past that time. They have to try something. Probably, I don't know what it is. There's the easy thing to say is to drop Looney. Whether that's the correct move, I don't know. Whatever, but they have to try something. Florida just tried something, so we'll give them a little time. LAG did the same. LA Thieves is looking really strong. So all these other teams, be prepared to make those changes to try to catch up to the rest of the competition, because these other teams are grinding and going hard to get these W's.
We have teams like Toronto, teams like OpTic so far that are unbeaten in their groups. Do you think, Pacman, by the end of week 2, teams like Toronto and OpTic are still unbeaten?
Who does OpTic play? They play 1 or 2 matches.
So let's say OpTic plays Thieves as the final match. They play 1 match because they played 2 this most recent week. So they'll play Thieves on Sunday, the final series.
They have a good track record versus LA Thieves in this game, but it's completely different roster at this point. But I do still think that OpTic's going to take the match. So if you're going to ask me that, I do believe that OpTic will be undefeated still going into week 3. I just feel like
no shot they're beating the Thieves. No, I'm just kidding. They have a good shot, definitely, to go undefeated. I mean, Toronto, I have them. They're the best team in the game. They haven't lost a map as well.
Yeah, because they'll play Gorillas and Minnesota are their 2 matchups for the week.
Yeah, Katie, I think both OpTic and Toronto have a very good shot of going undefeated. You can never say for sure because there is so much talent in this league. It doesn't matter. The London Royal Ravens can steal a series off you. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are. So, but being a numbers guy myself, yeah, I think they both have a very good shot of going undefeated and just, you know, continuing their streaks.
So then here's a question. Considering the roster changes we've seen and the performance of teams that we've seen so far in the first week, do you think Toronto is getting lucky with their group over Group B?
Nah.
No.
I mean,
no, I don't believe so. I don't believe.
Yeah,
I don't believe so.
You take it away.
I
John,
feel like once you're that championship level team, luck's out the window. Right? We didn't say that for FaZe last group, and we shouldn't say that for Toronto this one. You play who's put in front of you. All these teams are talented, down to London Royal Ravens. They're all talented, and they're doing what they need to do. Is it lucky that they played Dallas without Kyler? Whatever, but they beat Dallas with Kyler not long ago.
That's fair.
So to say that it's luck, I'm not doing that. I feel like Toronto's just super talented and on the same page right now, and call it a perfect storm or whatever it may be, but it's not luck. It
don't matter. It don't matter who's in their group. They're the best team in the game right now. So you know what that means? They are the favorites to beat every other team when they match up against them. It doesn't matter. So no, I don't think it's luck. I think it's well deserved. And wow, luck. I actually can't believe that was quite. Not at you, Katie. Not at you, but it's
definitely at Katie.
Hell no! I'm here to pose good questions. Don't hate the messenger.
It was a good question. I was thrown off. You know, because it's not like they're like if you would have said that for like Minnesota Rocker, you know, who clearly isn't the best team in the game, I would have been like, oh yeah, it's maybe a little lucky, but it's Toronto Ultra, man. They deserve their respect.
All right, so then what about Thieves? Any luck, any hope for Thieves? Ian, how are you feeling about them going into this week? Because like we said, they will face off against OpTic, and they play FaZe as well. They play FaZe Thursday. They play OpTic Sunday.
This, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a very important week for them. They are 2-0. I think they did play the weaker teams so far in their group, Katie. And I think this is going to be a big indicator for Ken. He's gone up against Formal and Arcities in the main AR battle. I think right now he could easily be better than both of them at the main AR role, but this is a team game. So I think this is going to show us exactly where LA Thieves stands. You know, if they go 1-1 this week, I think that's a win for them. You know, because that'll for sure guarantee them, I think, to be in the top 3 in winners bracket. And they need to show that they can beat these top teams. I think going 2-0 is going to be hard. I think they can do it, but I'm worried. I'm worried that they potentially go 0-2 and then they find themselves in that same situation of like, well, shit, now what do we do?
I'm on the same page as you where I think this is the most important week for this LA Thieves roster, just because this solidifies them as a top team. Say they go 2-0, now they have the confidence to believe that they can actually go out there and win a championship with this roster. Not only just compete with the top teams, but go out there and actually finish out a tournament, which is just extremely hard to do. I do feel like with the thing with Kenny, I do feel like there's definitely a world where he's the best of them. Kenny's gross, so he could easily be the best man AR, but now it's time for the rest of the roster to fill out and prove that they can compete at the highest level with the other top teams. I believe the best quality win they have is NYSL. This would top both of those. This would top those wins easily, right? And this would put them at the top of the group and shoot them up the power rankings, like we said before. I feel like LA Thieves has a tough road ahead of them with these opponents, but a road that they can definitely get through. And I'm looking
This is
forward
a
to their matches.
make it or break it week for, I think, Draza and Venom, John.
Really?
Okay.
I don't know if it's that drastic.
Well, okay, I might be capital. I don't mean make it or break it as in like, oh, if they shit the sheets, they're out the league. But like, you know what you're getting from Ken. You know, as a player, Ken has been one of the best COD players. TJ has the experience. I mean, maybe you want to throw him into that group of like Venom and Draza. These are the young guns. You know, they're gonna have tough competition going to get up against Envoy, Dashy, going up against Celium. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they're going to need to prove their worth. You know, because the thing is it's not like if they don't do hot, they don't deserve to be in, you know, starting. But you want to see them be able to perform and outduel the best players in the game. If LA Thieves wants to be a contender, you know, and have a real shot at winning a major, you know, and just being successful. So that's what I meant by the make or break week. Just because this is really going to tell everyone, like, are they the real deal, or can they just kind of bully these teams who aren't as talented than them? You know, I want to see them be a contender, not just middle of the pack team who could beat the best or the worst.
So then what about a team? I know we touched on OpTic a little bit about their potential to top the group because they do just have that one series against Thieves, but OpTic in general within this group, how good, Pacman, do you think their chance is of coming out on top of the group over someone like FaZe?
I believe that they could actually do it. I feel like this is going to be, if there's a time for OpTic to become that dominant team, it's now. They've stopped putting out the content, they stopped streaming, stopped posting on YouTube, and all that means is it's time for them to get to work. And then if they get to work and they do it all properly, I know that Troy has them playing the S&D scrims against the top AM teams. They've already shown that they can be a really consistent respawn team in this game. I do feel like if there's a time to catch FaZe slipping, it's right now, because I feel like FaZe might be trying to make changes to their gameplay. We saw it on the Express that they played. It actually worked out where they decided to play more retake heavy and let the other team plant the bomb and then go and try to take it back like that. And it worked out. They won it. But all that means is that FaZe is tweaking their gameplay. So if that this means this is the time to catch them off guard. Get that top placement, get that top spot. I still feel like FaZe can come out in winners. And when you're a team that's that good, you can make those tweaks and still win matches. But in terms of getting first place, this is OpTic's chance.
Without a doubt, Katie. I mean, OpTic played them. They only played them once, right? When it went to that close. Game 5, I believe. And right now, like John said, is maybe they're in their own head a little bit. You know, they're trying to reinvent themselves. I know they hired Tupac as their S&D coach because their S&D looked, you know, pitiful for their standards. So this is where OpTic could kind of catch them slipping. And I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to be a very tough series. I think it's going to be close, but I think OpTic is trending in the right direction. They seem to have gotten over that slump and they're really locking in. And, you know, FaZe is on the other side of that. They're in that slump that they need to get out of and they're trying things. So there's not a better opportunity.
Well, OpTic, we'll see if they can seize that opportunity. So maybe one to watch then from OpTic, perhaps FaZe, another team. But Ian, when you look at all these teams, these players going into this week, it's starting to get to the real nitty gritties of the entire season, the make or break points for teams to potentially get into the top 8 for champs. Who are you watching, or what team are you watching for this week?
It's got to be LA Thieves, Katie. You know, we talked about them. This is a very tough week for them, and this is the moment. This is the moment that they need to prove that they are a top team. This is it. I know it's only 2 games at the end of the day, and we talk about that, but for momentum's sake, their confidence in each other and themselves, like they need to go out there and prove that they can beat these top teams. And if they do end up going 0-2, I think they might just get stuck in that middle of the pack for the rest of the year. And I want to see the boys do well. So this is a huge week for them. I'm looking out for Kenny, though. I am. He's been lights out with the AR. He's going to have some great matchups against OpTic and FaZe. And I want him to kind of be that leader on the team and really just turn into that superstar Kylo Ken mode. Just take over the series and get them a 2-0 finish.
For me, I'm looking for Seattle, right? Because Seattle is the, what did Ian say, the best, worst team he's ever seen or something like that. It's like, They only have 4 wins this season. They don't feel like a 4-win team, but they're getting to that.
I was about to say, only 4? I thought they'd have a little more than that.
Exactly. But they're at that point where they have to start closing these matches. It's not like they don't have a lot of time to close this gap anymore. And the teams above them, LAG, Florida, they're starting to trend in the right direction where they're only going to need to get a couple wins here and there to put that space between them and Seattle where Seattle won't be able to close. Now, whether or not that's making a team change for Seattle or, I don't know, somehow having some sort of kumbaya session and breaking it down and figuring out how to close out the end of the games, I don't know what it is, but Seattle has to figure it out now. They're running out of time. They're out of time. They're out of time. Only 4 wins on the season with players Octane, Gunless, Rossini, Looney. It's unacceptable at this point. They need to figure it out, and if they don't start this week, I don't know what to tell you. If they don't start this week, I don't see them getting to another major with this roster.
Oof. Well, I mean, that's certainly a lot of pressure on Seattle's shoulders, and I'm sure that they feel it as much as everything that you've just said. So on that note, then, maybe no more major appearances, who knows? But bold predictions, Pacman. Bold predictions on the week. Maybe Seattle, let's see. Who does Seattle play? They play subliners. Oh, okay, great for them. Well, they play subliners, so maybe that's a bold prediction. Pacman,
it's a tough match, but
bold predictions. What do you have? Maybe it is Seattle. I don't know.
Seattle's gonna beat them. No. It's a tough match, but you look at the players on the team. Since when are you worried about them going into a tough match? They're supposed to be the team you worry about playing. That's my point. Like, what? When did this flip like this? When did this happen? I just don't know. My bold prediction for the week is OpTic's going to... Nah, that's not bold, is it? That they're going to 3-0 LA Thieves? I believe it. I believe they're going to 3-0 LA Thieves. I don't know. I feel like since they only have the one match to prepare for and LA has just this absolute gauntlet that they have to get through, it could be a tough match for them, and I think that OpTic's going to win that one 3-0.
That was the weakest upset.
It's not an upset.
Bold prediction.
Bold prediction.
Well, which could be an upset, but...
You want to hear the actual bold prediction, Katie, that will come true?
Yes, Ian.
I have LAG actually beating the Dallas Empire this week. And that's why you go last, Katie. That's why you go last. That's why I just sneak in there. I let John have the horrible takes, and then I get the best one. But
Dallas is gonna beat them, even with Fellow and whatever. They're gonna beat them.
We'll see. We'll see. I think
whatever, man.
I think Empire, even though they did look solid versus Toronto, I think this move still doesn't make any sense to me. Having Illy on the sub role over a player like Kyler doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, Krim can say, look at the mini map and all this. And it sounds like if it is gameplay related, like they're making it out to be, they don't watch the mini map that much themselves, because it seems like Kyler is the scapegoat. Okay.
Right.
I literally watched their matches. Yeah, he's making some interesting plays, but so is everyone else on the team. And so I just think they're in a weird spot. LAG is feeling good. I think they're gonna go in. I don't know if LAG is gonna beat Toronto, but I think they're gonna compete. I do. I think the vibes with Cheen are gonna be high. They looked great. I'm expecting Cheen to continue to play as well as he did in that first series. Maybe not as well, but I think they're going to shock everyone, upset Empire, and then this is where we're going to see what Empire does. After that, I got LAG winning, and then Empire is going to have to do something.
Okay, well, Empire might have to do something, but I was going to... Okay, well, that's going to lead into my bold prediction that Ian stole from me.
Sorry, Katie. It's just...
You're not sorry. Don't lie. Don't lie. You're not sorry. But if I had to say anything, I'm going to say Thieves beat Chicago. Purely because they have yet to beat them. They have yet to beat them this year. They got absolutely body slammed by them, if you remember, in the very beginning of the year. And I I love watching Draza play. I think he's an extremely fun player to watch play. I loved what he did for Ogla last year. I like what it seems like he's doing for Thieves this year. Kenny has looked incredible. Venom looks improved. The entire team as a whole seems to be trending upward. So I'm excited to see, with a little more practice time going into this, potentially Thieves getting a win over OpTic. I definitely think they can do it. And maybe not the spiciest of predictions, but I think
Good pick.
Thieves
Two things.
is gonna give them a lot.
Did you say Ogla? Second thing.
OpTic Gaming,
was
Los
right. I
was
Angeles.
like, Ogla.
It's real. Okay. You gotta understand. It's real easy to say that over the whole thing.
Ogla is just, that sounds
Ogla.
gross.
I'm a lazy
It reminds me-
human.
it reminds me of that
I'm
one
a
Adam
lazy
Sandler
human.
movie. Or not, isn't it like Umba Gaga? Or you know what I'm talking about? I know you don't know.
What are y'all talking about? Second thing,
I did the
is
worst.
a prediction
I did the worst.
bold if you stole her prediction? That's not bold if you guys are both thinking the same thing. How is that bold? Isn't
He's a
that?
thief. He's a thief. of the night.
we think bold. We're living life on the bold side. I don't know what to tell you. Just because you're basic ass.
Just because
pick.
you don't understand, Pacman, doesn't mean that you should judge us. That's all we're saying.
His bold pick, you could tell he's boring. His
Ogla.
bold pick was OpTic was going 3-0 Thieves. Like they didn't already do that before.
You talking about that thing at the very beginning of the year that doesn't matter anymore? That doesn't count.
Okay, Mr. Japtius. Don't be getting here roasting me for names.
Ogla doesn't even exist anymore. So, anyways,
It doesn't exist, and that's why we're gonna move on from it. But I think Thieves, I think they can maybe try and take down OpTic, and that is my bold prediction, Pacman. I don't care what you say. And now that's gonna be the end of that preview show. So no more sass from you guys. We have a big week 2 coming up for a lot of these teams, potentially make or break for how it's gonna play out for them in Major 3. And I know we're all looking forward to breaking down everything that happens in the review show after the week concludes, but you guys will have to stay tuned for that. So leave us some likes, leave us some comments, and we'll see how everything shakes out going into the second week.